The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Hello again, everybody. Welcome on set of another edition of your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with the men's basketball coach at UNM, Richard Pitino. Coach Pitino, great to be with you. We're going to talk about two Lobo victories today. Wins over Air Force and Northern New Mexico. First off, how you doing, and how's the team doing?
Doing great. Obviously, 3 out of 4 winning is great. I think we had some moments, whether it be San Jose, whether it be Air Force, and even Northern New Mexico, where we took steps forward. And that's the biggest thing, is we're playing somewhat of our best basketball in February, and that's what you want. But we obviously know that we have a huge challenge ahead of us. But guys are excited. I think it's good to taste a little bit of victory as well as be home this week.
Speaking of challenges, it's tough not only to win at Air Force, it's tough to score at Air Force. You guys put up 91 points on them at Clune Arena. That doesn't happen.
No, obviously it helps when one of the players scores 42 points, but we were offensively in a great rhythm, which, you know, you normally think about scouting, you think about defense and how do you stop what they do, but there's an offensive component to scouting that we take pride in, and I thought we were really good at it. We took our foot off the gas towards the end. We got to be more mature with the lead. But yeah, to get a road win, I mean, to be sitting with 10 wins when we only had 6 last year, there's progress. We're moving in the right direction. We've had really good moments offensively this year. Great moments. You know, you put up 100 plus at New Mexico State. You go out Air Force 91. It's not easy to do when you don't have a true post presence and you have a lot of new guys. But when Mashburn and House get going, they're pretty tough to stop.
Air Force plays a very unique matchup zone, and it can get kind of crowded. How did you create the space, the driving lanes for your guards who were so good?
Well, we wanted to get player movement first and then drive. I think you get in trouble sometimes when you try to drive the set zone. It's really a man-to-man. They show a 2-3 zone, and then they're going to match up as you start moving. And, you know, we tried to keep the ball in the middle of the floor. Guys made plays at the basket. So it was good. Like I said, I thought we were in a really good rhythm. I think we did a really good job of simulating. That's the key in scouting, is can you simulate and practice what they do as if it's your own defense, so that it's not necessarily a huge adjustment when you play the game.
Due to the Mountain West rescheduling of games, the Lobos had a big 10-day layoff. So Coach Pitino and New Mexico put this matchup with Northern New Mexico right in the middle of it to break it up. You talked about the team sleepwalking a little bit in the first half.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily the opponent as much as we weren't making shots. And that's, besides recruiting, obviously, and getting stronger and getting better, that's the one mentality that I don't love about our team, is we're turned on by our offense, not our defense or our rebounding. And we've just, in our 10 wins, it's been mostly offense. And we don't handle not making shots well. But we stayed the course. We did play good defense in the second half, and we ended up winning by 32. So the scheduling part of it, I mean, I hate losing San Diego State. I really do. I mean, are we ready to beat them right now? I don't know. I mean, they're old, they're physical, they're mature. But it's a way to get the pit packed. It's the way for our team to see, okay, they're the best of the best. They've consistently been the best, and we learn. Even the first time we played them, we learned from them. So lucky that Northern New Mexico had an opening on their schedule. Grateful that we were able to play it, because we didn't need a long break.
All right, 2 Lobo wins to break down with Coach Pitino. We start with Air Force next. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back with the men's basketball head coach at New Mexico, Richard Pitino, on your Lobo Coaches Show. And Coach Pitino, we're about to get into highlights of the Lobos and Air Force from Clune Arena. For the vast majority of your players, their first visit to the academy, how did you guys prepare them?
Well, for one, just a beautiful place, and grateful for everybody and their service, at that unbelievable academy. But more than anything, we try to, it doesn't matter who we play. We just try to make it about that game. Air Force got some really good wins. First teams that beat us, UNLV beat us, Utah State beat us. They've played everybody close. They had Wyoming beat. They had hit a buzzer beater at the end. So, I've been a big believer, and I've said this before about this is year 10 for me as a head coach. I'm not even 40, but I've been doing it a long time. And anybody can beat anybody. We are not at a level where we should ever have an ego. So now it's about simulating what they do. Also understanding, we've talked about this a little bit, and I actually think their crowd was pretty good, and I thought our fans showed up in a great way, but sometimes playing in a smaller, quieter arena is more challenging than playing at San Diego State or something like that. So our guys jumped them early, and they were in a good mindset.
All right, let's get to it. The tape, the Lobos and the Air Force Academy from Colorado Springs. How did you guys get off to this fast start, Coach?
Well, we wanted to go inside to J. Allen Tovar, and that's going to be a huge point of emphasis for him and his development is being able to score inside and out. So, 2 baskets right at the rim, something that we're really going to work on, moving forward. We've got to have a low post threat. Then all of a sudden it opens up the court, and getting to the rim and offensive rebounding is a huge part of it.
Allen Tovar with 10 points and 9 boards just missed a double-double in this one.
Yeah, he's got so much room to grow. You see right there, Mash shoots it. He doesn't go try to offensive rebound. We need to get him in the mindset of every shot is a miss, because I think he averages about 6 rebounds. He should average 10 rebounds a game. See right there, he sniffs it out, goes after it. So he'll get bigger, he'll get stronger, he'll get tougher in the offseason.
I think he is sneaky athletic, too. J. Allen Tovar can really jump. KJ Jenkins there with a deep 3.
And another shot where Jay doesn't go to the rebound. Javante kind of goes. And their excuse is always, well, I know it's going to go in, which is a lie. Great rebounders assume it's a miss. But when KJ's spreading the court, when House is making threes, it's good. This is something that Air Force always does, and they're going to burn you a couple times a game. House wasn't ready for it. That was one he could have gone up and shot it. I don't know what he was doing, but it worked out in our favor.
Yeah, he laid it off to Singleton. It hit Say in the side, and he just scooped it up off the floor and scored it.
Good job of getting a paint touch and kicking back out. Those are the best threes that you can get.
Yeah, nice kick out there from J. Allen Tovar to Javante Johnson.
This is something that Jalen House and Mash both have a tendency to do, is not get off their feet and challenge those threes right in front of you. That's just a poor job of guarding the ball. We wanted to keep them off the baseline because they love to drive baseline, but we got to do a better job there. Jalen House has got to fight to a front better, and then obviously makes this shot to give a little momentum going into the half.
Big shot. So he ends up with 14 points at the half. Jalen House has had some huge games for you guys, 30-plus point games. This is the shot that he said really got him going. He knew when that one went in, this might be his night.
Well, he was playing with a high level of confidence. Whether or not that's true, a half-court shot is not really an indicator of if it's not, or that's a luck shot. This is right here. KJ and Javante get screwed up on a switch. House goes underneath the handoff, which you're not supposed to do. Our defense still, it's very frustrating for me because, I'm more of a defensive-oriented guy, and I certainly like both sides of it, but we got to be better there.
They have a good-looking young freshman in Jake Heidebreeder. He shot the ball very well for Air Force.
He did, yep. And when Jalen House is making threes and Mash, it's hard to guard. Those two guys got in a terrific rhythm offensively in the middle part of that second half. Our transition defense, whether it's celebrating too much, not being disciplined to get back, we got to get more discipline on that. Good seal on J. Allen Tovar right there. And Saquon gets to the rim, which is great.
You talked about the Lobo fans that were in attendance, Coach Pitino. They were really big as you guys go on a second half run here.
Absolutely. I mean, just to see the level of care. I've said it a million times. The reason why these players came here is the fans. It's a special fan base that's been through a lot. They've had a lot of roadblocks put in front of them this year to go to games, and they still support us, so very appreciative.
Nice to see Javonte Johnson knock down another three-point shot there in his hometown in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, it was cool to see. I know he had a pretty big contingent of fans that were there. Jalen Tovar is probably the thing he's best at is shot blocking. Did a really good job, starts the break. House gets in there and makes the layup. Too much celebration for me, but you got to let these young folks be themselves at times. At least he did it on a dead ball versus a live ball, which we're working on. But good finish, getting to the rim, like it. I believe he didn't convert the free throw, which we need to do. Mash does a really good job here, just keeping that dribble alive.
Love the way House attacked in that previous possession in early offense, sort of the secondary break. You want to get that more if you can out of your guards?
It's the best time to score, is on the break. Free throw line, on the break, two huge parts. We get the switch here. We get it moved to the other side of the court, and House has got to be able to knock that down. But he's got to get back. He's got to stop celebrating. Something we've talked a lot about. Mash does a really good job playing in the middle of the lane. Really good.
So Mash's 20 points end up being overshadowed a little bit because Jalen House ends up going for 28 in the second half and 42 for the game. Just a remarkable night for the Lobo guards.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever have seen somebody put up 42, quite frankly, or coached in a game, I should say. Really good job here. Good job. Good fundamental basketball by KJ. Shot fake there. Good job. But this is just unacceptable by House. He knows it. I mean, you can never do that. He lost some discipline. He played, we wouldn't have won the game if it wasn't for him, but he's got to do a better job of being the point guard in those big moments.
There's one of those long twos that you've talked about, but I guess on a night when he's shooting it like he is, you want him taking the key shots.
Can't complain too much about it. Got to get off that line, obviously. But impressive performance by Jalen. Carried us with his offense, and to score 91 at Air Force is hard to do.
There you see the Lobos' best performance in a single game since Kendall Williams put up 46 that famous night in Moby against Colorado State. No player this season in college basketball has had a game where he scored 42 points and another game where he dished out 13 assists. Jalen House is the only guy in the NCAA Division I this season. He's putting together quite a year.
Yeah, we've had some moments, and I've told him all the time, you're the problem and you're the solution. He's had multiple 30-point games, a 42-point game, like you said, almost a triple-double. When he's good, we're really good. He needs to have a certain level of consistency. And I think with Jalen, he's been thrusted into a role that he did not have. He didn't play a lot at Arizona State. Now he's becoming one of the guys for us. And if we want to go, he's had some great individual performances, but we want more wins. And I know he wants that. And it's now a matter of whatever teams throw at you, can you handle that and will us to victory?
I suppose it's easy to say this when the ball's going in like it was for House, but do you feel like he's getting a better feel for when to go get his and when to set up his teammates?
I don't know. I think he just took what the game gave him. I think Jalen's biggest room for growth is doing it against physicality. And I don't think Air Force is all that big and long. Neither are we. But when we play big, strong teams with length, he struggles. And all of us do, quite frankly. We've not been good versus that matchup. So just finding a way to do it, whatever defense you throw at us, whatever personnel you throw at us, bringing value every single game.
All right, so Lobos get their second league win against Air Force. Now a home game against Northern New Mexico coming up next. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Welcome back into your Lobo Coaches Show with the men's basketball coach at the University of New Mexico, Richard Pitino. The Lobos coming off a win at Air Force. They get Northern New Mexico at home. Let's get to the tape in the pit.
Yeah, a game we threw together. Weren't really sure what they were going to do defensively. We got to continue to get to the rim. You know, our defense and our energy and our enthusiasm wasn't great when the ball didn't go in. You know, you see right here, we run a little Spain action we call. Mash, it's that mid-range. Saquon needs to not cut like that. He needs to stay in the corner. House, I don't know why he pulls up there. I'd rather him drive to the basket. Sebastian did a good job of rebounding the ball. You know, and size alone really helps him. And he kicks out and does a good job.
Do you like to see him when he catches one of those down low off the glass like that, just turn around and go right back up with it?
Yeah, you're 7 feet tall. Go put it in the basket. Simple enough. And he's going to get more confident, you know, as the years go on with that. Another one, I don't know why House is stopping. Go right by him. Get to the rim. Good paint touch. Catch and shoot three.
Jalen House knocks down a triple there. You talked about how the Lobos trying to find energy here in the first half when early on the shots weren't falling.
Yeah, and this is just bad on-ball defense by Javante. Jay does a good job of rotating and almost blocking the shot. Good job by Barima there. Barima's going to be a good player. This is going to take some time. Him and Sebastian both. Good paint touch, kick out three. We love that.
I love what you're saying about paint touches. It doesn't always have to be toss it down to the block to a big. A guard can get into the paint, create the same type of spacing that an actual post speed does, right?
Yes, absolutely. We're not a great post offense team right now. Mash does a good job there getting to the mid-range. Good job of drawing that foul at the end.
This was quite a performance by Mash. I thought when others maybe weren't seeing shots go in, Mash took and made some important shots for you here in the first half.
Yeah, and you know, I probably played him a little bit more than I wanted to, but he was getting some confidence going, and I wanted to, you know, see if we could carry that over to this week. Again, like, we have to have a more physical presence at the basket like Jay just did there.
Nice to see the way that you executed that baseline out of bounds play as well to get that bucket for Jalen Tovar.
Yeah, unique prep in the sense that they play zone, which a lot of our league plays man. Did a good job executing.
So they junked it up a bit. I think I saw a 2-3, a 1-3-1. They threw a couple different looks at you.
They did, and you know, anytime you play an opponent like this, you're going to assume they'll do that. You know, it's a non-conference game in the middle of conference play, so it gets you out of your rhythm a little bit.
They did have a player that, you know, he's not had good games just against the Lobos. Other D1 teams that played Northern New Mexico. Tyreek Weaver was a tough cover, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a good player, and it's when you're in conference, you're normally going against bigs who are big, but he's smaller, but a tough player to go against.
Spectacular lob there from House to Jalen Tovar, and a nice putback here by Sebastian Forsling.
That's what we keep talking about. They're doing a really good job of sealing those bigs, and our guard's pretty good off the bounce. Tara makes a good move, you just got to finish it, and Sebastian does a good job rebounding.
And that was the big thing for Sebastian in this one, was the way that he crashed the glass, did a nice job.
Yeah, and then paint touch three again, you see it. I mean, it's just the rhythm shot that we're looking for.
Another lob, this one to Taryn Todd, and Lobo started to pull away here big in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like you say, well, you didn't play well in the first half. Well, it's a 40-minute game, and we won by 32 points. So did a lot of good things. You know, good cut by Clay there, down the lane, good pass by Taryn.
Yeah, the guy's getting a chance off the bench now, a step through from Jeremiah Francis. Clay Patterson, the walk-on, gets a bucket. And it's nice to see all these guys get an opportunity here in the second half.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's for guys like JF, who obviously doesn't play a lot, to be able to get some minutes and to play well was great. Clay and Jordan and Safi all obviously scoring was nice to see as well. You know, so I think the game we got out of what we needed to more than anything.
A beautiful up and under for Jordan Arroyo, and then the next trip down, there's Safi Fino Alacel's first Lobo bucket, a corner three ball. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And another paint touch three, you know, and Clay obviously gets a steal, gets a basket as well. Good to see our players celebrating those other success as well.
So the Lobos get a 32-point win over Northern New Mexico in the pit. You break up that 10-day break that you talked about with a game against an NAIA opponent. Accomplish what you wanted to with this one?
Absolutely, won 3 of 4. You know, I remind people all the time, we only won 6 last year. This is a major rebuild. Anytime we can win and win in February, it's great. You know, so we know we have a tough week, but you know, it's easier to teach them after a win necessarily than a loss.
Quick question before the break. Did you feel like those 5 days leading up to that game, your team got better?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I told them over and over again and told the media it's hard to get better this time of year because of the schedule. You know, you're playing games, you're just trying to rest them and you're trying to watch a lot of film. We got some on-court practice, which was great to see.
All right, we come back and wrap up this session of your Lobo Coaches Show after this timeout. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back on your Lobo Coaches Show with the men's basketball coach at UNM, Richard Pitino. I'm Robert Portnoy, and Coach Pitino, a nice little stretch. Let's kind of put a ribbon on this stretch where your team has won 3 out of 4. You've got a long stretch of tough conference games coming up, but this was good for your team, wasn't it?
Winning is always good. Now you're really coming down to the home stretch here before the conference tournament with some very, very tough teams. But yeah, building is key, and we're trying to build the foundation. We're trying to, set the culture of how we're going to act on the court, off the court, through scouting, through individual development, through the weight room, nutrition, and so on. So I think this group is buying into it. It's always good to see some results to kind of validate what it is that you're doing. But it's a fun group to coach, and they're going to get better and better.
So an odd circumstance through postponements and conference rescheduling. You had 10 days where you played just one game. Now you got a stretch where you play 4 games in 8 days in league, a gauntlet. How's that going to look?
Well, the players like it more than the coaches, but you know what? That's why they play, is they want to play the games, and it's going to be challenging. So as a coaching staff, we got to make sure we do our part of making sure they're rested. Not as much practice time, more of an NBA type schedule, so they're fresh and ready to go.
You talked about it's your responsibility to help the kids through things that come with human nature and maybe being relaxed leading into a game against an NAIA team like Northern New Mexico. If in a stretch like this, things start to go south, it would be human nature to sort of have your shoulders slump. Is that something you'll be watching for?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I'm watching for is all these teams that you're playing for a second time. Maybe you lost a close game to them, maybe you beat them. That has nothing to do with the next game. That opponent is going to change things up. We need to change things up. We can't assume the way the first game went that it's going to go the same way the second time around.
So different kind of prep, knowing that there's a tape with those two teams matched up against one another.
And for both of us, we've got to take pride in we're not giving up that offensive rebounder. We're not letting them score on that underneath out of bounds play. Things like that. That's what winning programs do. Not, oh, we almost won, we're going to get them this time around. That has nothing to do with anything. Learn from it, grow, get better, get tougher.
That'll do it for this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show. So long, everybody. Go Lobos.